Hey, this is Andrew bringing you another Keyforge deck review. This one is C. McCormick Freeland's Perfect Regulator. This is the one that Allie played. My daughter played in our little family sealed tournament, and she got second. I managed to beat her in the end, but it was a pretty close game. So this one is Mars Dice Logos, and let's dig into it. So we'll start with the Dice. We have Amber Imp. This one I don't love. It's a 2-power imp with elusive. After creature reaps, stun it. It applies to both sides. Definitely slows things down, but I don't know. My view is I just don't think the impact is all that high. Okay, Banish is an action with a bonus amber. You put an enemy creature into your opponent's archives. That can be good depending on the situation. We have 2 binding irons here, and this is hard. This one I've just kind of realized I don't love playing with binding irons. I don't love it when my opponent does it to me, but I also just don't really like doing it to the opponent. I don't feel like it's that impactful. And ultimately, this resulted in the game against me in 6 turns of me drawing 1 less card, but and it definitely affected my gameplay, but obviously wasn't enough. So anyway, I don't know. I don't love it. I think in Chainbound it's way better than it is outside of Chainbound. Okay, Dust Imp is a 2-power imp that when it's destroyed gains you 2 amber. That is fantastic. Exhume is an action with a bonus amber, and when you play it, you choose a creature in your discard pile. You can play that creature as if it belonged to your active house and was in your hand. So what do we want for this? We want good creatures with hopefully with strong play effects, or maybe a situation where we have a strong ability to protect creatures and we can bring one out we'll want to use on our next turn. But typically I get excited about play effects with this. Gub is a 1-power demon. While it's not on a flank, it gets +1 power, +5 power, and gains taunt. In my matchup against this deck anyway, it did have some board presence, and the Gub stayed on and was doing stuff most of the time. So it was a solid card. We have 2 Schulers here. That can be pretty brutal. So it's a 5-power demon. When you play it, if your opponent has 4 or more amber, you steal 1. So that's really solid. This is also a good target for Exhume, right? Get an extra steal out of it. Very nice. Tezmal is a 2-power imp with elusive. After it reaps, you choose a house, and your opponent can't choose that house as their active house on the next turn. Very annoying. Gold Key Imp, the worst key imp usually. It's a 2-power elusive creature, and players can't forge their 3rd key. There is some potential for it to be good here, in that maybe you get it out and then you're able to on the next turn draw your Schulers, or even 1 Schuler and an Exhume, and your second Schuler's in the discard pile. You manage to kill the key imp and then play 2 Schulers and drop them down to 5 or something. I mean, maybe it could help you. There's not a lot of situations where this is what's going to win you the game. And a fair game is an interesting one. When you play it, you discard the top card of your opponent's deck, and then you reveal their hand, and you gain 1 amber for each card of the discarded card's house revealed this way. So, for example, my daughter played this against me, and the top card of my deck that got discarded was a Dice card, and then I had to reveal my hand. If I'd had 2 Dice cards in my hand, she would have gained 2 amber. I had none, so she didn't gain any amber. I got pretty lucky, and then I got to do the same thing to her. So I flipped over a Mars card, and she had some Mars cards on her hand. So I actually ended up gaining more out of this than she did, which is not typical. She got pretty unlucky, but usually this is swung in your favor because you're playing your Dice cards out of your hand, and you now have a small hand. You probably don't have very many cards in your hand, and the chances are that you're going to discard something, and you're going to get more amber out of this than your opponent will. Okay, let's go to logos. So we have Archimedes. It's a 2-power cyborg beast with elusive, and its neighbors get the ability destroy to archive this creature. There's 2 of these. I'm still not sure, since the new ruling, if you have 2 of these, if you have 2 next to each other and there's a board wipe, if they both get archived. I think they should, since creatures can't gain any new abilities after they're marked for destruction. I would think that they also wouldn't lose them, but I haven't seen that clarified yet. Cutthroat Research is an action with a bonus amber. When you play it, you steal 2 amber if your opponent has 8 amber or more. I guess the argument against the Archimedes thing is just that if it's not on the table to read anymore, then you can't fire it. So maybe that's how they're going to go with it. Yeah, anyway, Cutthroat Research, gain an amber. Usually this is just gain an amber. In rare situations, you might get to steal 2. 2 of those. Igor is a 2-power cyborg. When you play it, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 to your hand, and discard the others. Fantastic deck filtering, just really good. 2 of those, that is great. I love putting these next to Archimedes. My daughter was doing that, really getting good value out of it. She got a lot of value out of these. I mean, it was annoying. Standardized testing destroys each creature with the lowest power and each creature with the highest power. So a lot of times you're going to be killing off your Igors. Titan Librarian, 4-power cyborg scientist. At the end of your turn, if it's not on a flank, you archive a card. That is great. Titan Mechanic is a 6-power cyborg scientist, and while it is on a flank, each key costs -1. So that is an interesting play there. It applies to both you and your opponent, so you just have to be careful how you use it. You can always cover it up with other creatures later, but just be careful how you use it. Wild Wormhole. This is great. Super fun card. Gives you bonus amber, and you play the top card of your deck. Yay. Quantum Finger Trap is an artifact with a bonus amber. It can exhaust to swap the positions of 2 creatures in a battle line. I often think this card is not that great, but against AoA it's pretty good, and actually in this deck it's pretty good because you can move around the Titan Mechanic or Librarian, move stuff around the Archimedes, there's some move the Gub around, there's some good value there. So I actually think it's pretty nice in this deck, and the bonus amber is not bad either. Sloppy Lab Work gains you an amber, archives a card, and discards a card. More good deck filtering, right? I mean, we have 5 discards here, along with the play the top card. So yeah, just really good, and yeah, it's really nice ways to just mess around with your deck and accelerate your own deck. All right, let's look at Mars. We have Mars first. It is an action with a bonus amber, and when you play it, you ready and use a friendly Mars creature. Very nice. Mars needs amber, gives you a bonus amber, and each damaged enemy non-Mars creature captures 1 from their own side. This, in addition to the Schulers, gives you a little more amber control. Your opponent's creatures, some of them steal from their own side, which can potentially keep them off a key. This is another area where, like, maybe you have the gold camp out and then you're able to do a real power play with this. But I would think it would have, like, your opponent would have to have a lot of creatures and a lot of damaged creatures. So it seems a little niche. Mindworm is a 1-power beast with elusive, and before it fights, the creature it is fighting deals damage equal to its power to each of its neighbors. So if you're fighting a Ganger Chieftain, that Ganger Chieftain is going to do 5 to each of its neighbors first, and then the Mindworm will do 1 to the Ganger Chieftain. The Ganger Chieftain will do 5 to the Mindworm, and that's it. Mother Gun is an artifact that can exhaust to reveal any number of Mars cards from your hand, and you deal damage to a creature equal to the number of Mars creatures you revealed. This is really nice for spot damage. You don't spread it, so keep that in mind, but it is good spot damage. Good for just nuking things from orbit, essentially. Xanthax Harvester is a 3-power beast that can't be used while it has a non-Mars neighbor, but when it reaps you get an extra amber, which is pretty cool. Ixil's Dominator is a 9-power robot with 1 armor and taunt, but it enters play stunned. That is huge, very big. Yeah, and it can protect your stuff for sure. Zizek's Shockworm is a 3-power Martian soldier with 1 armor. After an enemy creature reaps, stun it. More soft board control there. Combat Pheromones is an artifact with a bonus amber. It has Omni sacrifice it, and you can use up to 2 other Mars cards this turn. And there's enough other Mars cards in here that could potentially stay on the board that I think this has some real value to it. And Exterminate says for each friendly Mars creature you control, destroy a non-Mars creature with lower power. This actually potentially means you could get a turn where you capture away some of your opponent's amber with Mars needs amber and exterminate to kill your own key imp. And there are some decent sized, just the one huge guy, the Dominator. But the 3 powers have a good chance at killing something. Obviously the Mindworm, anybody with Exterminate. Mothership support, though, can do some damage. It is an action with a bonus amber, and for each friendly ready Mars creature you deal 2 damage to a creature, and you can choose a different one each time. So this is actually a pretty good way to spread damage around. If you started a turn with, let's say, 3 Mars creatures on the board, can do this, and then the Mars needs amber, that's a 3 amber slow steal, which is pretty good. Stormcrawler is another big Mars creature in here. That's nice. It's a 9-power robot with 1 armor. It only deals 1 damage when fighting, but after an enemy creature reaps, you stun it. And then lastly, we have Quickslick's Plague Master, which is a 3-power Martian scientist. After it fights or reaps, you deal 3 damage to each human creature. That damage cannot be prevented by armor. This is real Sanctum hate. Yeah, and I got to see my daughter use this to pretty good effect, actually. Yeah, it has. So this has like fast amber generation. I mean, a lot of just printed amber, a lot of things that gain amber, a lot of not a lot, but some steal a decent amount. So not like super hard amber control, but some decent stuff that'll help you get ahead in a race. And good deck manipulation. No artifact control, and just moderate creature control. But this deck really just wants to race on amber, and it does a solid job at it. Very solid job. All right, so that one ended up getting second, and so in the next video I will show you the deck that got first. Oh, this one, by the way, this one comes in on the SAS system at an 85, which is quite high. That's a 4-star rank there, and 54 arc because it has such high expected amber, along with the decent amber control and it's really strong deck manipulation. So and the deck manipulation is not only the positive, helping your own deck speed up, but those binding irons messing up your opponent's deck. So it is quite strong, just didn't quite beat out this last one in the end. So next time I'll show you that one, and you'll just have to wait and see. But until then, hope you're enjoying Keyforge, and maybe I'll see you online or in person, and have a great day.